The city is alive with activity.
Hi, I'm Dave Evans, and welcome to $9.99.
NYC Media knows everything about the city, and now you can take us with you everywhere you go. Our new iPhone app has tons of information about places to eat, things to do, and much more. Download the NYC Media app from iTunes and discover New York.
This week from New York Times TV. Columnist Christopher Gray visits the home of the Frick. Movie critic A.O. Scott explores the culture of celebrity in a dark comedy. Reporter Frank Bruni mixes 9 beans with booze for a delicious outcome. And our city critic Ariel Kaminer visits a skate park. These stories and more from the New York Times.
This is Ariel Kaminer, the New York Times City Critic. Pier 62 and 63 in Chelsea, the newest addition to the Hudson River Park, have just opened to the public. They have a pretty stunning garden, a carousel, and a free 15,000 square foot skate park.
People have been talking about it like all winter. And today there's like people over here from like Jersey and Long Island and stuff, so word is definitely getting out about it.
The ongoing Hudson River Park plan is the largest open space project to be built in Manhattan since Central Park. This latest edition is so new it's still all but empty, except for the skate park, which has already proven to be a big hit.
It's immaculate. I mean, most of the parks we've had that the city decided to throw together for us were always like half-assed, part of my friendship. It came as if it wasn't prioritized, like that brand new basketball court down the block.
They're especially psyched to have this space because Brooklyn Banks, a skate park that was located under the Brooklyn Bridge, closed.
When I first started, we had nothing but the Banks, which unfortunately closed for the next 4 years.
The Pier 62 skate park is the first of its kind, built on top of a marine platform instead of dry land, which means they couldn't dig down, so they had to build up using foam and concrete. It features a California-style pool, a beginner ollie zone, an intermediate fun box, and 24 and 18-foot ledges. I actually have no idea what any of those things are, but the skaters seem really excited about them.
Yep. Unbelievable. Never in my life thought I'd see it in New York City.
The whole layout of the park is like perfect. Like the flow is real good. The speed is generated just from rolling through the park. Like they constructed it like perfectly.
The skate park is now open from 8 a.m. till dusk, and so far, it's all thumbs up from these city critics.
It's a lot of freedom, like, you know, you could just come here, hang out, and skate.
This is the training grounds that I've been waiting for.
And now, Susie Minkes discusses the digital future of a fashion icon.
Walls breaking up, a building disappearing, models 3 stories high suddenly zooming into the sky above the Ralph Lauren store in London's Bond Street. It's called architectural mapping, a new way to engage with customers and to promote the brand in a truly revolutionary way.
I do believe this can be a game changer. It is a beginning of something very new. What we have done is created a concept that makes people think very differently about how technology can be used. And it's no longer limited to an iPhone or an iPad or a computer. Today, technology can exist in space.
I spoke to David Lauren earlier today about the impact of the digital world on the Ralph Lauren empire. David Lauren, you're here in London to celebrate a birthday. The celebration now is for your high-tech operations. Tell us about them.
Well, we started RalphLauren.com 10 years ago. The internet was just beginning, and in fact, it had started, and then we actually started into the sort of the bubble bursting. And most people were very apprehensive about going online. Most companies were putting up marketing sites, but they didn't want to sell online. And we really were one of the first brands to come along and fused merchandising and marketing and combine them, and we called it merchantainment. What we do online is we show the product, we sell the product, and then we create context around it. So you can see how the models wear it, you can see the worlds in which they live it. People want that outfit because they want entree into that world. So now you can buy the product, you can read about the dog that she has on her lap, you can watch a video about the car, you can book a trip to that house. We've created a virtual experience, or a real experience now, to literally step into a Ralph Lauren advertisement.
Your father, Ralph Lauren, must have taught you a lot of things in your 39 years. But when it comes to the internet, is it you who's taught your father?
Ralph Lauren is a very big believer in the internet, and right from the start, when everyone was apprehensive, he said, this is the future of the company. The truth is that I'm surrounded by an amazing team of people who are much more technically savvy than I am. I'm really not very good on a computer, and that's no secret in our office. My lack of understanding, my questioning what's possible, is sometimes what drives everyone, because sometimes someone will show me something and say, here's what we're working on. I say, well, why can't you do this? And they're like, oh, I get it.
Of course, the reason that you're here in London now is to launch the UK website. Is this a big step for you, and is it leading to the wide world?
Yes, it's the gateway to the rest of Europe and then into Asia, and our goal really is to make sure that the marketing and the brand and the product assortment is right, and to keep learning from each market and keep growing.
David Lauren, thank you very much for talking to the New York Times.
Streetscapes reporter Christopher Gray uncovers the home behind the Frick collection.
I'm Christopher Gray, architectural historian and streetscapes columnist for the New York Times. Every block I walk down, I'm looking for an odd detail, a strange building, New York's little mysteries. It's my job to solve them. The city and its architecture is my beat. Most people think the long, low limestone building at 70th Street and Fifth Avenue is a museum, and it is, but it was also once the home of Henry Clay Frick. By most accounts, Frick was the meanest, richest, strike-breakingest steel man you'd ever want to meet, but somehow he built one of the most elegant houses in New York. Let's go take a look. Designed by Thomas Hastings, the house was finished in 1914 in the manner of a French palace. Frick had collected most of his art by the time he moved in, and had always intended it to go to the public as a museum. But there are still traces of his occupancy throughout the house, if you know where to look. There are call buttons throughout the building for the household staff. These houses were like factory towns. The Fricks and their daughter lived here with 27 servants, 4 parlor maids, 3 footmen, a vegetable chef. At a 9-to-1 ratio, if there had ever been a revolution, they sure would have been outnumbered. There's a surprising irony in Frick's character. He was widely known as a ruthless businessman, but he also developed a refined taste in high art and the old masters. Frick was also devoted to music. He even had a live-in organist. Trumpet, bassoon, string, echo pedal, flute. This is the giant home entertainment system of the early 20th century. The Millionaire's wall-to-wall plasma TV. And last but not least, for the millionaire who has enough El Grecos and Rembrandts, a bowling alley, 2 lanes. The pity of it all is that after 8 years in the planning and $5 million, Frick moved in the fall of 1914 and died only 5 years later. The Turners, the Rembrandts, the Vermeers. Henry Frick had such a short time to enjoy them, but we still can.
Next, the minimalist Mark Bittman prepares a classic French salad.
Not surprisingly, one of the world's greatest salads contains bacon and egg. The egg is poached, but don't let that scare you. The salad's called salade lyonnaise because it's from Lyon, which is generally accepted, or has been generally accepted, to be the gastronomic capital of France. It's typically made with frisée, which is a nice green, super, super bitter. Escarole would work great, even romaine. Escarole would be a terrific substitute, and a quarter the price. So radicchio, all of those would be fine. I've got some bacon already cooked here. You know how to do this. You cut it into pieces and render it. Into this you can dump a tablespoon or more of chopped shallot or red onion, and cook that until it's soft. Meanwhile, bring a pot of water to a boil or almost to a boil and get it so it looks like this, which is to say barely simmering. Not boiling, you want it kind of still. A lot of people tell you need to put vinegar in water to poach an egg properly, or you need to do other fancy things. Basically, you drop the eggs gently into the barely bubbling water and it'll work out fine. We're going to add to this a tablespoon or so of Dijon style mustard and a little bit of sherry vinegar. You're not going to get this looking as if you whisked it because you're not whisking it, but it's fine. On the salad, it'll be gorgeous. And then you turn off the heat. You want this to be warm when you dress the salad with it. It's going to wilt the greens a little bit, as is the hot poached egg. You don't want it scalding hot. Take your eggs one at a time, and you want about 1 egg per serving. Crack them gently into a bowl. Just slide that into the water. I don't get freaked out if the eggs don't hold together perfectly. Fresher eggs hold together better. And you can also, as I'm doing here, sort of gather the white around the egg as it starts to cook. The longer it cooks, the firmer it becomes, of course. What's happening here is that the protein in the white is coagulating, as protein does when it gets hot. You want the yolk as runny as possible, so you really just want to warm the egg up. Get that white sort of solidified, but not hard. And you want a slotted spoon so you can drain as much as you want, as much as you can of the water out of here. Right on top. But this is the fun thing. It really is almost the ideal salad. You've got ordinary ingredients here. You've got lettuce, bacon, egg, mustard, not much. And then you get a super, super sophisticated and really delicious salad.
Coming up, A.O. Scott examines the cult of celebrity according to Martin Scorsese.
Sometimes we love celebrities, sometimes we hate them, but there's no doubt that we're obsessed with them. And how do celebrities feel about the rest of us? Well, they're terrified, and with good reason. At least that's the upshot of Martin Scorsese's pitch black comedy, The King of Comedy.
There you go, sweetheart. Thanks, Mr. Pumpkin.
Don't mention it.
Rupert! Rupert, who are you talking to?
Mom!
What is it?
Please stop calling me.
Robert De Niro, doing a variation on the theme of Travis Bickle, plays Rupert Pupkin, an aspiring stand-up comedian who's obsessed with a talk show host named Jerry Langford. He's played brilliantly by Jerry Lewis.
Hello.
Hello. It's Marcia, Jerry. Did you get my note?
Who's this?
Now, Lewis is basically playing a version of himself, and some of what happens to Jerry Langford is based on real experiences that Jerry Lewis had. For example, this encounter on a Manhattan street with an adoring fan.
You're just wonderful. I've watched you your entire career. You're a joy to the world. Please, Lauren, would you just please say something to my nephew Morris on the phone? He's in the hospital.
I'm sorry, I'm late.
You should only get cancer. I hope you get cancer.
Rupert joins forces with Masha, another obsessed fan, played by Sandra Bernhardt, to kidnap their idol.
Wait, okay, Jerry. Get over. Get in there. I'm not fooling. What the hell are you talking? What are you doing? Are you crazy? Get in, Jerry. Get in.
Hi, Jerry.
Rupert figures that by holding Jerry hostage, he'll get the ransom that he wants, which is a slot on Jerry's show. Masha's intentions are a little less rational.
My doctor says, don't have any fun. You can't have fun. No, you're not allowed to have a good time. You can't get crazy. See, I have to be in control. And I like being in control. But you know, for one night, I'd like to see myself out of my head. Wouldn't you like to see me out of my head? Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be fabulous?
I'm having a good time.
All of the performances are terrific in this movie, as is the score and the cinematography. It gives a really creepy, claustrophobic sense of these people's lives, and also a vivid picture of Manhattan in the early 1980s. The King of Comedy was made shortly after President Ronald Reagan was shot by John Hinckley Jr., a disturbed young man with a fixation on Taxi Driver and particularly on De Niro's co-star in that movie, Jodie Foster. It may be this background that gives The King of Comedy its amazing, really prescient insight into some of the defining pathologies of American life.
Rupert Pupkin, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Rupert Pupkin.
Not only our fascination with the lives of celebrities, but the cult of celebrity itself. Our desire to become famous is so strong, so intense, that it makes us delusional.
Rupert Pupkin, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Rupert Pupkin. Wonderful! Rupert Pupkin, ladies and gentlemen.
Next, Frank Bruni's Tipsy Diary takes note of some unique coffee cocktails.
Many bars will make you an Irish coffee, but very few actually put a lot of effort into the quality of their coffee and the quality of their cocktails. Ooh. We are here at the Randolph, where there's a coffee program that includes 5 coffee cocktails, and I'm with Troy Seidel, who is the inventor of these cocktails and is going to make some of them for us today.
First coffee cocktail is called the World's Best Dad.
Is the World's Best Dad a caffeinated drunk?
Going to be the Laird's Applejack. A little bit of Carpano Antica, which is the world's best sweet vermouth. A little bit of Demerara sugar, and of course coffee.
Can I try it?
Absolutely.
Yikes. The World's Best Dad was not the World's Best Dad for me.
Okay.
I don't think he was in the top 100. Yeah, I think the World's Best Dad owes child support or something. Okay, let's see. Now, next you're going to make what?
It's called Double Punch.
Now, why such a prosaic name?
The double meaning is that you're getting both coffee and alcohol at the same time. So
as in a Red Bull vodka.
That's maybe.
Okay, so what are you? Tell me what you're doing.
So we're adding coffee that's been brewed hot and then chilled, and then Pisco is a brandy made from grapes. This is Marasca liqueur. This adds a really interesting funky note and a very bright note as well.
Higher notes, deeper notes. It's like a symphony, huh?
It should be a symphony.
You're like a Tchaikovsky of coffee cocktails.
Thank you.
Is that a grapefruit?
This is a grapefruit.
That was very theatrical, thank you.
There's ice that I shook with that I don't necessarily want in the drink. Cheers.
Okay, thank you. That's nice. Like you could almost tell someone, you could almost convince someone there's no alcohol in this. And that's very Four Loko of you.
Are you getting that symphony of flavor? You're getting deep notes, high notes?
It's a veritable Boston Pops, yeah. Will we see a rotation of new coffee drinks into this? Is there one you have up your sleeve that you haven't put on the menu yet you'd like to kind of try right now?
Sure, yeah.
Viewers, we're putting them on the spot.
Okay,
Make me a coffee cocktail with tequila, please.
You'll get to see the creative process here. The Don Julio Blanco.
Okay.
Regan's Orange Bitters.
Okay.
Cointreau. And then a refined sugar syrup. So this one I want to put in large format ice.
And is there a ginormous format ice? Like just the one big cube in the center of the drink?
I like the direction you're going. And we'll make that happen. Let's whittle this guy down.
This is my first ginormous format ice drink of the day, you know? It's like the Titanic hit one of those things.
Let's give it an additional layer of aroma. Put some...
Just gonna go all orange all the time? Did you go to like Syracuse University or something? This may be my favorite drink of the whole bunch. But I love tequila, but no, this is like a margarita got mugged at Starbucks, and this is what happened. Yeah.
Finally, another happy couple takes the plunge in this edition of Vows.
When you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible.
We met in college. He was a senior and I was a junior, and we belonged to the same eating clubs.
We ended up in one of the same classes together right before lunchtime. So that's really the first time that we started talking.
It was funny because we would get there, it would be that awkward moment of, do we sit together, do we not sit together? I'm probably a little more outgoing than him, so I definitely think it was probably me stepping up to the plate.
We had kind of bonded over our love of trashy TV shows and MTV, and at that time, 50 Cent's movie, Get Rich or Die Trying, was still in theaters, so I thought it would be a funny and maybe a good idea to ask her if she wanted to go see that. Our first kiss was actually later that night. It was walking back from the eating club towards the rooms after dinner. So we dated seriously throughout the last half of that year, my senior year in college. She was a year behind me, so she had 1 year left. So we had to do the long distance thing for a little while. After she graduated, she got a job in the city, and things just kept progressing from there.
One thing that we disagree about is football, unfortunately, because he is a huge New York Giants fan and I am a huge Philadelphia Eagles fan.
So I would say it's pretty crucial that whatever girl I ended up finding at least tolerated sports. So I was pretty fortunate in that Felicia, at times even more than tolerates them and actually likes them.
I love sports. What do you mean tolerate sports? I love sports. I think he's just saying that because I don't love all of his teams.
I'm a bit of a screamer, so now I just pretty much sit there silently. She actually, I don't know if she'll tell you this, but she gets more angry than I do.
So it's a bit of a point of contention for us, but we've worked through it, and I think it was good preparation for marriage.
I think we're both very careful about what we say so we don't set the other one off.
Yeah, some of us are more careful than others. We were dating for about 4 years before he proposed.
Saturday after Thanksgiving, and we went for what ended up being a pretty long walk in Central Park. So I had the ring with me, was trying to figure out a good spot to propose, and really had no plan. So it was right when we were about to leave the park up by the reservoir where I realized I should probably just do it. So I dropped to one knee and that whole thing down on one of the paths. I had the box upside down when I did it. A guy walked right next to me and bumped me on the shoulder.
That was the moment. And it was actually really funny because he had the ring backwards. So I, at first, think, I don't understand, is it a joke? And then he looked down kind of horrified. And no, here it is. And I took it out and put it on, and like many people, didn't say yes until after we hugged and I had tears streaming down my face. So.